What's going on, trash cans? We are back with our inventory update, show breakdown. How did the shows go this weekend? And then we are going to be doing an update slash today. What is up, Slayer, Haunter, Jimby? Where the fuck have you been? You know what? Just to spite you, because you haven't been here. How about that? Huh? You like that? You like it? I want to slap you with it. I love you, and I've missed you. I hope this shows my emotion adequately. I got this in on a trade. But, yeah. So, yeah. Inventory update. One of the slabs we got on a trade. So the purpose of this is really just an insight into... It has been too long. This is just like an ability for you guys to talk to a vendor, see how shows went, ask questions, see what inventory we're bringing. Our inventory has grown, specifically raw inventory has grown so much that we actually don't have any more room in our case for slabs, and it's all just raw cards. So, yeah, I'm glad to have you back, by the way, and I hope you have been fantastic. The card or my temperature, because it actually is like cool. Not gonna lie, like it's a bit nippy. It's like in the 60s, and I'm a Floridian, so anything below 70 is cold. All right, so we have 2 stacks of cards that we picked up. Now these are not going to be the set prices that are going to be in the case guaranteed. I have 3 rows full of raw. See if I can show an adequate description. This is all full of raw. When did you live in Tampa? Small world. But yes. Wow. Spilled cards, but yeah. The most highly sought after cards is going to be 151, because people are master setting it, which 95 to 06. Okay, so I moved to Cape Coral, which is like 2 hours south, 2005. Yeah, so the most sought after cards right now is 151. People are master setting black flare, and white bolt. Just that the market volatility is so crazy on them that I have a couple of the new cards in, but I usually will get them from my more frequent people at booths, just as a thank you for their support. So that's where I got their product from. But yeah, 151 is always hot. We do have some like massive singles that we picked up actually, from this moving the Eevee over because she is shiny. And yeah, so without further ado, again, there are prices listed on cards. This does not mean that there's going to be the price guaranteed at the show. I understand that prices are to change. I normally price all of my inventory out completely every Friday before shows, so my shows Saturday and Sunday have the most accurate prices, and I do understand that the market is volatile. So if I have a card price wrong, do you have questions about a price, I'd be more than happy to explain it as well. And yeah, so starting off, we have the Master Ball Ursaluna, Lucario, 2 Yen Megas, Bam and Bam. We have Levencia from Destined Rivals, Murkrow, Wailord, Machokme, Meowth, and Cerulege. Again, some of these prices have changed. Following this, we will do a breakdown of our shows and also give you guys the updated show schedule in our Discord. Charizard, it's Pikachu number 2, very pretty Pikachus. Ends Reshiram. So this drop, this is like $13, $14 now. and this one's like $26. The stamped one has been all over the place recently. We have the Perrin from Twilight Masquerade, the Mewtwo EX. So this is the non-metal Mewtwo from 151. And we did get 2 of them. We took these in on a trade. Charisma. We got the Ho-Ho from Destined Rivals. We got the Groudon from Paradox Rift. Charizard EX. Victini promos are actually at $9. If you look on TCG Player, there's a single listing at $7 and everything else is $9 or up. Briar. Chicane. So this Snorlax we had in the case for $18. We did not know it was a Pokemon Center stamped Snorlax. But yeah, 225 is a very clean copy. There's no whiting on any edges. Centering is very, very decent in comparison. So very gradable in my opinion, but I am not PSA, nor do I work for them. And then we have the Japanese Umbreon, Flareon, Poofant, Samurott, Electrode, Guzzlord. Actually, I had a guy looking specifically for all of the Ultra Beast cards that he was collecting. Zekrom, Lucario, the regular Snorlax. So the thing about my inventory, for those of you that don't know, is I try to have the largest variety possible, and I'll actually organize 151 in its own set, and then if I don't have a card, like one of the chases from a set, I will traditionally try to trade into those so my inventory can reach a broader audience personally, and I think that that allows us to have that reach to our viewers. Magneton, Eevee, Jirachi, Gengar, Charizard, and Clink Clang. Good chance that Gengar is not going to last very long. Alright, we have another Reshiram, so we have 2 more of these, so we have 3 total. I'll also split my duplicates so I don't double list something. We have the Bulbasaur, Raticate, the Mewtwo. This card is now like $90. Greninja, Pikachu, Gimmighoul, and the Mewtwo EX. It's actually stayed about the same. I did look that up as well. All right. VMAX, we got the Altaria, Paradox Rift Chase, the Boufflant, Charizard V, Kingdra from Unlimited Neo Genesis, the Muck and Alolan Muck. Picked that up in a trade. We got Janine, we got Bridget, Venusaur, the Suicune Master Ball, and the Typhlosion. So like I said, trying to reach the broadest audience possible. There. All right. And so kind of like breaking down what did this weekend have to offer. So what I am going to do is I'm going to pull up our Discord and we're going to talk about which shows we were at this weekend so everybody is on the same page and nobody's confused. What's up, TCG dude? What's up, Aces? How are you, my good sir? I just went over the cards I picked up from you this weekend. Do 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 boo boo do 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 do. Fixing my Streamlabs so I can actually see everything. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, so I do think that that card is just overshadowed in the grand scheme of like value. Okay, and screen capture. Okay, so if you're not familiar with our Big chases and nines? I don't actually. Um, I have the Japanese Starmie V in a nine. What are you trying to start, Slayer? Cheeseburgers? Where's our cheeseburger? Damn it! I want a cheeseburger. So this is our Discord under our live shows tab, right? Uh, no, I am a man of my word. I still owe him 15. So, but yeah, I had not done 100 push-ups straight in a very long time, but it was a good experience, and I do like doing that, and I am going to keep that as a part of our thing, as well as wearing the trash can. Dude, that's awesome, man. That sounds dope. When do you start? For those of you that don't know, this was our as of last week, as of Tuesday. Um, this was our schedule, and the major change really is the 29th. So this is as of now, the 29th. We're no longer doing Mid Atlantic. We are doing Pokeberg TCG Fall. Okay, so why did we change shows? Um, he will be doing Annapolis again. Um, and we'll be doing Fairfax with him on Saturday, Haunter and myself. Why did we change from Mid Atlantic? Okay, so Mid Atlantic was a interesting show from a TCG vendor perspective. Sports had a very large collection of people go out there. In total, we probably had maybe 300 people like come into um the show. Um and when I look at the foot traffic and I look at the amount of people that we got to see, we did not get a steady flow of people. Now, I respect their show and everything like that. Positioning wise and event wise, it did not have a lot of affordability. And Pokeberg came up when, if you guys aren't familiar with Pokeberg, it was a very big show that came up in the Eastern Seaboard, and they sold out of tables in 2.5 hours. So I decided that I'd rather do that show than Mid Atlantic again. Mid Atlantic just didn't have what I expected to have for that show, so that's why we changed this. Additionally, we have the East Coast Card Show on October 11th. We have 2 tables there. We have October 12th, which is the second Sunday show. That's with Joseph. And then, as you see, we have Arlington Fairfax. I did speak with the Hagerstown Card Expo show promoter. Okay. So that gentleman actually had an interesting take on his show that I would like to share with you guys. And yes, I even wrote it down. The real question is, where did I put it? I put it over here. So that's awesome that you're acquiring a card collection. I don't think Magic moves very good at shows, though, because it's a player-based, not a collector-based game, if that makes sense, Slayer. What is unique about this show? So the Hagerstown Card Expo is in a new facility. There's going to be 450 tables. His thing is that if you are a vendor at the show, you'll actually be able to order food to your booth. Somebody will bring you food to your booth from the event, and do that. Number one. Number two, I said, okay, what is the expected volume? And he's like, we've been doing this show for a year. We're expecting to have more than 3,000 people come through this show, which is an astronomical number of people. And so I asked him, like, what is your vision? He was like, we would like to push this to a 2-day show. And he said something to me that really caught me off guard. He said, I want to do a 2-day show, but I want to start it Saturday, and I want to do a show from like 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, and then 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sunday. And I was like, why do you want to do that? And so he goes, I want to be able to have a card show that doesn't interfere with somebody else's card show that's going on the same day. So if somebody wants to go to both card shows, they can go to that card show and then come to that next one later. So he was like, I might start at 3, I might start at 4, I might start at 2. So load-in essentially for a vendor would be 2. And I'm like thinking about this, and from a vendor's perspective, traditionally you see that fall off at like 2 o'clock because everybody wants to go do something else or go to a different show and everything like that. So if you have a show promoter that's working with other promoters in the area, you can, in theory, say, okay, well, you came to this show, you had fun, and then you had a blast with that, and now you want to do something else, you can go over to this show and they'll give them a discount of some variety. And so I was like, it's a really cool idea. I work 6 days on, 3 days off, so the middle of the week card shows. Well, Aces, where is your general location? Because Lost Zone is putting on one on Thursdays. It's a small show, and it's at a somewhat bar-esque scene, but there's that. So I was like, that's cool. But something that they're doing exclusively, yeah, it's too far for you. I don't think you want to drive into DC. Something that Hagerstown Card Expo is doing exclusively is that they are making exclusive show promos for the vendors. And TCG is going to get exclusive show promos for TCG, and the sports vendors are going to get sports promos exclusively for sports vendors. And so, like, whether or not these cards are going to be worth money is a different story, but at the same time, I think it's a really cool concept that you're going to give back to your vendors, give them something that they can take home with them and they can collect. Because, as a vendor, yes, we're paying for the table, we're renting the space, we're bringing all of our things, but I like collecting really random things that may not be worth money to other people, but to me holds some significance in area. And I was like, this is a really awesome idea, and I really like that. So this week on Sunday, we'll be getting those promos for that Baltimore Trading Card Expo, or Hagerstown Card Expo rather. And I was like, that's really dope. And he also spoke on potentially doing a show in December, but he's doing a double split show. So what he's doing is a sports show in the venue from 9 to 2, and then TCG from 4 to 9. And that's going to kind of like pipeline and test his theorem on how people will come and go to a show at that time. And if that doesn't bring in a large audience crowd, then he's not wasting that timeline on a bigger show, and then he can move the times to the left and to the right. So I do think that is a great concept. I spoke with this gentleman for about 40 minutes, and I introduced myself, and I said, hey, we have a community of people that are vendors that are interested in shows, that are interested in all these things. And I said, I would really be interested in working with you, but I don't want you to just listen to what I have to say. I'd rather you see what I have to present. And so I also spoke on behalf of Haunter, who we vend. You'll see him in videos. We'll be vending literally like together on Sunday or on Saturday at Fairfax. I said, I would be interested in working with you to the point where I come set up at a show for you guys, YouTube channel. I'll advertise for you on YouTube and Instagram, just like we have been on our live shows feed and stuff like that, talking about our shows here and, setting up together and then, bringing them that traction so people know where to find us. And he was like, if I like what you see, I don't see that being an issue. And of course, when you're doing a promotion host for a show that's 450 tables and he wants to expand it to 800 or 900 tables, the amount of vendor interactions is astronomical. So I also understand that, as a new vendor for him, he wants to kind of like test the waters to see where we're at, which I completely respect and completely like understand. So that's kind of like moving forward for the Hagerstown Card Expo. And then after that, we have the Westminster Town Mall. We did talk with Jam's Garage. Instead of inviting us, they invited Bearded Dads, which I understand. He's got a bigger following, bigger YouTube channel, the whole shebang. So he's going on the September 7th show for them. They did change up their application process. I'm not sure if I will vend there again in the future or if I will go to a different show. I'm not sure how that's going to go. So potential to go back to that show, potential not to, but that's neither here nor there. And then we have the 703 card show on September 20th and the Baltimore Trading Card Expo. And so we did This is through Doughboys promotion on 13th. And we just confirmed Herndon. We'll be back in Gaithersburg with Tidewater. We're going back to the same spot. And then we got the second Sunday show. We got Short Pump on the 19th. Unfortunately, we probably will not do another Westminster show, maybe until December, just because we don't have like timeline and space availability in our lineup to really get there. And then, we have the Montgomery Fairgrounds, which is a 2-day show, the 15th and the 16th. That's going to be held by Tidewater. The Pokeball TCG Fall Show. And then January 3rd, we did already purchase a table at Houston. So we got a table there. Mid-Atlantic, 2-day show. Again, concept was good. My only genuine issue with this show that I had, and I'm not bashing the show, right? Overall, it was a great show for a lot of people. I did like meeting people and having that interaction. Is the breakdown time was very short. We had an hour to break down, and I had customers at my table until 3:10 or 3:15, which makes it hard for me to meet that requirement, right? And then we did book our table back at Royal Rangers. We spoke with him, and we'll be getting side-by-side tables with Haunter there. So we'll be doing that. The only show that I don't think we'll be doing is going to be the 14th. He will be at Collecticon, I believe is the one day that, or the New Jersey. He'll be in New Jersey on the 14th, I believe. So that is that. So that is our foreseeable future, what our schedule looks like and what that's going to affect. Like I said, I'm going to leave this here for now. There's no guarantee that we'll be doing that, but I'm just going to leave it there for now as more shows come up. So that covers our shows this weekend, how they went for Saturday. Sunday, on the other hand, Sunday was an absolute blast. So that was in Annapolis. Like Aces was saying, he came out there. We did a deal with him. And overall, he actually ended up helping a young kid and his dad, where he donated $5 to a kid, and the kid was like, I only have $5. And so he was able to get the cards that he wanted. So, shout out to Aces. Thank you so much for that, man. It really meant a lot. And Sunday was an absolute blast. We did have some PCETBs in our collection at the time. We are no longer going to be doing sealed for the foreseeable future, just because for our inventory, what I've noticed about the people that come to our table is they want to spend between $20 and $65 on raw cards. Average deal is between that price and maybe upwards of $100 for multiple cards. So I would like to cater the most to those people by stocking my inventory in cards like that. I don't have any issues taking trades. If you guys didn't catch our live stream and the show, we did end up trading a dude. It took us 45 minutes to complete the trade, and we literally took $2 to $10 cards, and we had to get to $180 worth of market. It did take a long time, but overall was rewarding, and the individual did appreciate that. So that much I did appreciate was that interaction. Annapolis overall was a great show. I do plan to do that again. Like I said, the only thing that I want to do different for Annapolis is choose just one different spot, be closer to the door. But overall, spot was fine. And I have been working on the connectivity issue, and I have been looking for a way to get better internet. And the solution really is going to be a Wi-Fi puck. Whether or not they work, I don't know. So I'm going to be doing some research tomorrow and into Friday, trying to essentially how can I get my 1080p or 4K streaming up for my live streams in order for that to be a thing. And I don't know if that's possible, or if it's a setting that I have to change in Streamlabs, or if I just have to get a different streaming platform in general. But I do want to continue to provide you guys with live stream content. Now, the only thing, we did get a wall table for Hagerstown that, for the most part, should have a wall outlet. We will have an outlet here. We'll have an outlet at Fairfax. I don't know if we're going to have an outlet at the Expo. So we're going to have to figure something out. I do not know. We will not have an outlet at the 703 show. And so, what's up, Shaker? My Gucci friend. Frederick with Captain Romero. I don't know if we'll have a wall out there either. So we did ask for one, but again, beggars can't be choosers, right? If that's the case, we will go back to streaming on our phone. I know the side stream isn't the best, but What I would, well, the one thing I am going to do different is turn my phone from being straight up. So Wi-Fi help with your provider with decent upload bit rate is key. Like a phone provider and decent upload bit rate is key. Okay. I will have to do some research into that. But turning my phone this way in order to capture a wider screen. And then I have a adapter for the microphone, so I'll be able to plug my microphone in and we will have microphone capability. So we will be able to talk directly to the stream with the new microphones that we have in order to provide that clean line of communication. I know the phone is not the most optimal thing in the past, but we're going to have to bridge that gap essentially that we did. So if you guys are not aware, some other highlights is like card prices booming. So we were talking about this in the Discord. And if you guys have these in your personal inventory. So like I said, this card is shot up to over like $80. Near mint unregistered seller, and then you have near mint 72. So this card is just getting pumped. Okay, I will look at that. So this card is getting absolute pumped. The other one that I did not see and I did not look up prior to this actually is that's good. I feel like this was lower. I think it was like $26. I could be wrong. I can't remember. Was the Bubble Mew. So market price for Bubble Mew is now $677.56. Graded prices are like $2,200. And then you have the Japanese SAR that's been blowing up as well. That's $600-700 as well. So if you guys have that, that was an awesome pickup at the time. But the Mewtwo that I wanted to speak about specifically, doesn't help when I say promo, is this one. So that's crazy. I had these, like I had the one in there for $33. So that went up $10 since Monday. So I'm curious to see where this is going to go, you know, until Friday. But I know for a fact that like I have a bunch of these, Haunter has a bunch of these. So, and we picked these up when they were not this high. So those were good pickups there. Unfortunately, like with vending, you don't know which way or which direction a card's going to go. It's all going to be based off of like guesses and assumptions and market trends. So it's kind of like studying the stock market, and you have to hope that you're right with your theorem of where the card's going. And what I mean by that, right, is we were talking about this in Discord, so I'm just going to talk about it here. So the Charizard V-Star is a promo that comes in this premium collection right here. This card has a market price of $59.72. But when you go to the Mewtwo V-Star, and we've talked about this on the stream before, market price is $128.25. Why is this greater than the Charizard promo? Why is a PSA 10 of this high or lower than a Charizard promo? Well, the answer that I've found is number one, you have a more consistent pull ratio with the Charizard V-Star being in the Ultra Premium collection. That makes sense. So the population, on the other hand, though, is lower in the Charizard than it is in the Mewtwo. Mewtwo you can pull out of Crown Zenith Galarian Gallery, so you have to pull this card. That's why this price is higher, because you have to physically chase the card. There's no guarantee you're going to open the card, and so not purchasing that at that time, or like not like purchasing a single item to get the card, means that you have to find it. That's why the card value is increased. It's also part of the Galarian Gallery, which makes it harder to pull versus a traditional card from the set itself. Okay. So when is the Charizard supposed to catch up? Well, the Charizard, because you can get it in the premium collection, the raw product of the card is easier to get, but the PSA 10 card is exploding because there's so fewer of the PSA 10s versus the Mewtwo V-Star, which not only do you have to pull, but then you can grade because it's a chase card and not mass-produced in a UPC. The QC on it's generically going to be better. Personal experience, personal opinion, doesn't make it for sure, doesn't make it for certain. That is just what I believe to be true. So it makes sense to me, and I was just sharing that piece of thought with you guys. So those are two cards, like to kind of like answer that why is that card that price question. You have that. Now the Snorlax at the other means, right? So whenever you're looking up cards, and this is just from a vendor's perspective, don't always assume that the market price is the price of the card. What do I mean by that? On TCG Player, if I list a foreign card under English, it's going to affect this market price that you see. So how, like, let's say, for example, this Eevee and Snorlax, its market price is 209. But when I go to this card, I have damaged, heavy, near mint, 200, and English. People will list, and if I go to view more market data, you can see, this is a terrible example. Will this one have foreign? People will list foreign cards, and it's going to affect how a card tracks overall. Okay, there we go. So this Eevee Snorlax Chinese $40. This affects the market because it's not English. It's lower priced, but it still affects the English market. So when you see listings from $40, that's why you don't always assume it's $4. But again, so for the PC promo, it's a little bit different because it's a PC stamped. Now, again, the prices that I had, it does not mean it's the overall price. Lowest listing right now you have is $215, and then you have unregistered at $220, and then $225, and then it goes nothing but up from there. And here's another PC promo for $239. So I think $225 overall is relatively like reasonable for the card, and then you have a damaged and near mint or moderately played for these prices right here. So kind of like highlighting in the vendor mindset why certain cards are certain prices. I understand that when you go online and you see that the market price is what it is, that you hope that that is the actual price. But once you start deep diving into the conditioning of a card and the overall, especially on these cards that are worth money, like let's say, for example, you brought this card in, you have a 105 unregistered, but, you know, near mint is 116. So instead of valuing it at 103 that we saw right here, I would value a near mint copy at 116. The Times Square, is that the 43 now? 44? It was like 33 on Sunday. And then you have the Chilling Reign Secret. This card is sick, personally. So that's the Pokemon Go. Oh. 43, I think. Sorry, 47. I literally sold this for 44 on Sunday. But like, again, this is another example. Live play, and you have a near minute 40. So one could argue that the market's 47, but you'll have, or, you know, you'll have near mint listed at 40, 44, 45. So depending on market, if you walked up to a vendor and you're like, hey, like, you have this at 47, you know, there are near mint listings for 40 and 42. Would you come down $3 or $4 to be closer to that? I wouldn't see a reason with that, but not everybody thinks the way that I do, so that doesn't make it right or wrong. That is just my thought process on being a good person. But again, that's me personally. It doesn't mean other vendors are going to do that. It just makes sense to me. That's all. The other thing that we got last week was, so we got a Mimikyu, but it was from Celebrations. It's a Delta species. No, I didn't come up. Yeah, so this is the Delta species promo. So originally was, we had these at $14, and these are now up to $17. But the reason that these are going for so much is you go to price charting. I know price charting isn't ideal. Alt's much better. I do like alt for slabs, but this is just a more convenient thing to do. Pull this up. So like PSA 10 market's 413. You had a 599 sale. You had one at 300, which was a steal. Then you had 300, 574, 499, 310, 539. So a wide range of PSA 10s. But again, like this is a promo from Celebrations, and we're starting to see that boom come up with these. So, um, if you find them for $10 or $12 and somebody's buying her, this is definitely like a solid pickup, because I just see market 1751 and is just climbing aggressively. Near mint unregistered 16, and then near mint lowest listed is 18. So, you know, we originally got these at $14, so we saw a $4 price shift in the upward trend over the last week, which again is a great return. But this is just understanding the market volatility is very, very present. The other one that we got seeing like price accuracy was the Destined Rivals. So the Ho-Ho was like 162. Again, so Japanese near mint 129, and then the lowest near mint listing is 200. So this went up even more. Again, not a bad thing, right? It's just people are master setting, and this is why you have to be careful where people get the prices from. Sometimes vendors do mess up, like I messed up on the Snorlax. People are going to mess up on prices, so just paying attention to what your current market is for the cards that you're looking for. Don't always assume that vendors are right. We are human. We do mark things wrong, and that is okay. Like this is at 6605. Typhlosion's at 3677. So this is just Destined Rival stuff. But just some insight to that whole kind of like mindset. Like this is the ETB. So unopened now is 279. 300 seems to be the market now. This was 250 on Saturday or on Sunday. So sometimes we do things like that, and that's okay. Overall, that was the like insight to current market and what we're doing there. Like I said, our show schedule's here. As more shows come up, which I don't think we're gonna have a lot more inserts. We're gonna kind of like take some time off in December and then roll back in. So we might just do 1 or 2 shows early December. I know that there's a show on December 13th, I believe, at the Comfort Inn. So we'll do that with Doughboys Promotions. And then, yeah, Moltres from Destined Rivals starting to crash. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, my God. Holy. That is a 50-point drop. Jesus Christ. When you meant crash, you meant I fell asleep behind the wheel and was drinking. They announced the exact same card as a promo? Did they really? Well, that's kind of ass. Is it going to be the 229? Or will it be its own promo? Team Rocket's Moltres CX. You know, low key though, just a stamp on it. The stamp card is going to be what people want. That stamped card is going to be pumped out the wazoo. That's crazy. I didn't know that. Damn. That is... Like, I don't know if the stamp is... The box, it looks sick. And I think that that's going to be one of those things. It's going to be like the Sylveon Premium Collection that Prismatic still has to release, right? It's going to be one of those things that releases, and there's going to be so much other stuff going on that it's just going to fall by the wayside, and it's going to be forgotten about. And then when it hits, everybody's going to be like, oh my God, like, where's this been? And then everybody's going to grade it, and then it's going to come back at 10, and then people are going to try to sell it, and there's going to like be a flood, and the market's going to drop again. That's when you pick it up, is like when that market is at its bottom point. Because for those of you that aren't familiar with 151 Charizard, this was 220 on Sunday. this Charizard was 203, or sorry, was 190 on Sunday. This Charizard, when we sold it to Nico, was $60 2 weeks ago. Like, this has seen an astronomical price jump. It's been $50 for Lord knows how long. Like, it was from, like, it dropped down to in April and has been steady in April, and then all of a sudden just went through the roof, right? And then you have near mint at 103. So it's finally breaking $100. Paldean Fates Zard PSA 10. Gonna make me cry. Yep, makes me cry. Well, we all mess up. But what's the Japanese one going for? $295. So right where it was before. That's, I mean, I'm glad it's getting the love that it deserves, but like, damn, Billy. Damn. Well, you know, beggars can't be choosers. Yeah, Charizard Pump is insane. $653 for the XY Flashfire. I'm curious. The fact that this is on the downtrend too is insanity. What is near mint? Is there a near mint listing? God damn, $2,400. The lowest near mint listing on TCG Player is $1,000 for the XY Flashfire Charizard. That's crazy. And now there's one listing at 150. All of the packs sold at 150. That's crazy. Yeah. No, this market is, which, I mean, again, we've taken advantage. We've won some, we've lost some for sure. You know, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with. I wonder if Wrong Skies has gone anywhere. Nope, still the same price. Still the same price. I'll look this up right before you. So the other thing that, just a little bit of feedback point while we're talking about this, is because of our response yesterday to the Magic stream, we will be doing Magic next Tuesday to see if it stays consistent. Shop booster boxes, 2 listings, $8,000. Dude says box Gem Mint in an acrylic case. No worries. How's the kid doing, bro? Good? Yeah, this is the fact that the Blissey, probably because the promo. That's why. Ooh, that Malamar looks cool. I wonder what that Malamar promo goes for. Can I? Bro, I'm poor. The fuck? Damn, how much they grow. MSRP now is 159, 160. I think that's what Pokemon Center I think charged for the box. I'll give you 2 handshakes and a mouth hug. That's my offer. It's the best I can do. Jesus. 80%. And I know what you got the box for, bro. Like, that's the crazy part. You know what's one set that I am curious about before we get out of here? Is Surging Sparks. How bad are we down? So this is down. This is down. This has stayed relatively the same. Like, this is kind of like bottoming out here. And then we like Executor's down. Latios is staying consistent at least. Latios is staying consistent. Damn. The Chase and Shrouded Fable's a hyper rare earthen vessel. So, if you can get them from Pokemon Center, that is going to be the best thing. If you are a sealed collector and you look at the average rate of return, your PC ETB is $59.99. You're looking at a 200% market increase from day one for it to just continue going to the right. Booster boxes, the enhanced booster boxes, I don't think get as much love right now because they're just so prevalent. So what I mean by that is your enhanced booster box is 227, your regular booster box is 255. So like you can get an enhanced booster box for 228, and when I look at like prices, right, the number one thing you have to remember is exclusivity of a card. I have no idea. I'm sure it's because everybody is tired of pulling the ends restaurant. But again, you get this, and a PSA 10 is 154. There is a very strong chance that this, because you have to think about it, is that they're doing the enhanced booster for Mega Evolution. There was how many sets? So 1, 2.5, 3. So on like third set after, we're getting another stamped like booster box topper, and that's the only place you can get it. So eventually what's going to happen once these boxes fall out of rotation is that you can't just find them anywhere. That's going to drive the price. Plus the promo exclusivity is going to drop the price. And so those would be one of the things that you want to get. I have no idea why the enhanced is damn near $25 cheaper, but it is. It doesn't make sense to me. So just some like thorough insight there. Sealed Magic product, unless there's something played in the set, doesn't have like much return. And I mean, when you look at Magic's rate of return versus your Pokemon, like if a set isn't played, you're not going to have your cards. All right, so why are you not showing me booster boxes? Yes. It's all psychological. I don't know why I can't see the boot. Anyways, like, but yeah, the Aether Drift. Play booster display. It's all psychological. Actually, it's been psychologically proven that it takes like 3 months for you to see your own gains. Right, so like this box was on release in March of 25, $102. It went all the way down at its lowest point to $81, and like it's starting to like even out. But again, Magic is always going to be a player-driven game. If there's nothing played in the set, nobody's going to want the set. So is it smart for you to invest in cards that people aren't going to want to open later on down the road? That is a player-based focus versus collector-based. And what Magic's trying to do is tap into that collector's base by doing things like fracture foils and hey, some gains, gains are gains, bro. I don't even know how big my arms are. But yeah, just those expensive cards and Scarlet Violet series. I wonder where Greninja's at. That's another card that. So like this product wasn't getting a lot of love for the longest time, and it's kind of like flatlined at the 130 area. Magikarp 265, Charmander's a 46. That's the PC Snorlax, the World Pikachu, super undervalued there. Greninja's up 286.13. Yep. And so, all right. Here's my spiel on that. I'm going to show you the first iteration. This is where it all went wrong. When this set came out, everybody wanted this set. What'd you get at Target today, DJ? When this set came out, they shorted the supply. They came out with these serialized cards, right? And when you look at these cards that people are collecting, it's all for nostalgia. So people want to remember Fallout. They want the Nuka-Cola. They want those things that they have like that nostalgia feeling. And when you look at all the secret layers, that's kind of like what they did. But again, when you look at cards for collectivity basis, you have these fancy cards that are like cool to look at. You have, the Soul Stone, but when you think about in the universe of things, the Spider-Man crossover universe is actually supposed to be with Venom, personally. Which XY promo? But like, why is the Soul Stone involved in this series whatsoever? Is because they're gonna leak this into a Marvel like whole spiel. So they're gonna do other Marvel sets. That's why they did that. They're gonna do something with the Infinity War and stuff like that. And like, of course, like all these schools are cool. Damn, 2 surprise boxes. That's pretty good. All of those prismatics stamped promos like tanked really bad. I think the swamp's really cool and the forest is cool, like concept wise. But again, like playability is going to drive the market. Charizard XY promo. Pre-release here. This one's at 120. Pre-release for this is stupid. The X17's at 29. All right, let's see what we got. Damage, condition. Got for near mint. Near mint. Could take a risk. And then you have registered at 219. So that's really going to be up to whether or not you want to take the risk on the XY promo. But yeah, that card has just exploded. This was $30 in June. That's the crazy part. This card was $30 in June. Nobody wanted the card. $30 in June. That is insanity. One year has seen 155% return. Grody. But yeah, so that's our inventory update. Like I said, we will be live on Saturday. We'll be live on Sunday. Saturday we'll be at Fairfax. Sunday we're going to be at the Hagerstown Trading Card Expo. We'll be doing both of those two shows, and that is like what we're going to be going forward through. I don't think I missed anything else. And yeah, we'll see you guys live Saturday. I hope everybody has a fantastic, trash-tastic evening. Be easy. Don't be too sleazy. Stay safe. And much loves to all of you fantastic trash cans out there. Deuces, y'all.